There is no ego or possessiveness. Jiva Srishti is a creation of the individual by his own karma and is the result of ignorance that leads to bondage. Jiva Srishti and Ishwara Srishti are important subjects in Advaita Vedanta. Ultimately, by Tat Tvam Asi and other statements from the Upanishads, it concludes with the oneness of Jiva and Ishwara. Jiva appropriates Ishwara's creations and converts them into his own creation through jnana and karma. Jiva adds my-ness to this. We struggle because of this my-ness, which is the connection with the outside objects. Ishvara has no outside objects. If something is outside you, you connect that object with you as my or not my. The philosophical reason is that there is no outside object for Ishvara. There is no object for Ishvara other than Ishvara. We perform actions when we think that something is not mine and we want to possess it. This is the logic behind actions, and our mental activity is the blunder we create for ourselves. Shloka 18 states that the world has two types of objects. One is the creation of Ishvara, and the other is the creation by Jiva. All whatever is created by Ishvara are the objects for Jiva. Using examples, the difference between Ishwara Srishti and Jiva Srishti is explained. Whatever we see outside, we want to isolate or take within our possession. This is raga and dvesha, and this concept is the source of the problem called samsara. The main point discussed in the 18th shloka is of these two aspects, the creation of Ishvara, which become the objects of enjoyment for Jiva. There is no connection between God consciousness and the individual consciousness. We connect them with my-ness, the feeling that it should be with me. There, the ego comes in, which is with limitations and isolations. Shloka 19 says that for creation, Ishvara has the instrument called Maya. Objects that we see outside are the modification or the instrumentality of Maya. Ishvara had the Sankalpa, and Maya became the instrument for Ishvara's Sankalpa. Jiva's desires are by Mana. The mind is the instrument for Jiva's desires. Jiva's desire and Ishvara's desire are different in character. Maya is Shuddha Tattva and is Sattvic. Therefore, there is no other action. Jiva's desire is Mana Vritti. Mana is with gunas. We can have this experience ourselves. When our mind is calm and with Sattva Guna, we will be completely relaxed. Mental activities will be balanced when we have Shuddha Tattva. Normally, we do not have this. This Jiva Sankalpa with Mano Vritti becomes the objects for enjoyment. Shloka 20 talks about a jewel that is a creation of God, but people's perceptions and attitudes towards it vary greatly. Some may feel happy and desire to possess it, while others may feel unhappy because they do not have the money to buy it. And yet others are indifferent. The jewel itself remains unchanged, but people's experiences of it differ. This bhoga, this experience, is because of the differences. The key point is that the vastu is the same. Shloka 21 explains why this happens. One man wants the jewel, buys it, and is happy. The other one feels disappointed because he is not able to buy it. Yet another person who is a virakta is indifferent. There is no role for that object because the object is a creation of God and it stays the same. Srimad Bhagavatam says that that person will have infinite amount of enjoyment who does not possess anything. Shloka 22 says that the object has no role in this. Priya, Apriya, and Upeksha are created by jivas who see outside objects in accordance with their mental activity. The object created by Ishvara, right from the creation until resolution, will be the same. But when desire comes, all these problems are caused. One should have a universal mind, that is, the mind of God. That universal understanding will solve the problem. This is the point that we get from the discussion of Jiva creation and Ishvara creation. Shloka 23 elaborates with an example. A woman's relationships with others illustrates how Jiva's creation differs from God's creation. She may be a wife, a mother, a daughter-in-law, or sister, but her essential nature remains unchanged. With different roles, with different attitudes, the person seemingly changes. But actually, she herself remains essentially unchanged. This is how Jiva creates the samsara. The discussion closes with stating that Ishvara's creation is universal and problem-free. This shloka concludes this subject. Hari Om.
Smriti Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Vande Bhagavando Punah Punah Ishwaro Gururatmeti Murtibheta Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namaste Shankarananda Guru Padambujanmane Savilasa Mahamoha Grahagrasaika Karmane Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Namo Narayanaya. The creation of God is permanent, seems to be permanent, and the creation of Jiva, whereas the Jivas are concerned, they are mental or imaginary. So here one important question comes to all of our mind. If that is the case, how we experience all this? So the difference, the relations and things are said in the last sloka. All those are mental conceptions, mental thoughts, the creation of thoughts. Then how they appear as true, how they result in sorrow or happiness. So what is unreal and imaginary should not result, must not result in sorrow and happiness, all these emotions. So as said in 23rd sloka, a person, the person is the creation of God, it's real as a human being. But the personal relationships of that person differs according to the differences of mind, different minds. As a wife, daughter-in-law, sister-in-law, all those. But then how come all these can affect in our mind with problems, with different changes in our minds? So this is the question here. Here the objection is raised. The next sloka. Nanu jnanani bhidyandamākarastu na bhidyate yoshidvapushya dishayo na drishto jiva nirmitaha. He is asking, jnanani bhidyandamākarastu na bhidyate. What you said is there are different cognition, different appearance, different experiences. Let the knowledge, let the experiences differ, but the akara, the person, the woman, remains the same. So there is no change in that person, that woman, because the last sloka introduced this example. So akarastu na bhidyate. The akara, the appearance, that as a person, as a human being, is seen the same. It doesn't change. Yoshid vabushi adishayona drishtaha jiva narmitaha. So he says we don't see any difference, any change made by a jiva, made by a person on that lady. Only the ideas changes, but the lady remains the same. So how can you say jiva creates all this? That's the question here. We don't find any creation there. So na jnanani tu bhidyantam akarastu na bhidyate. So what we call as creation, the creation makes some change. If creation is not making any change, what does creation means? So there is no change as such seen in that woman. Therefore, we cannot say there is a Jiva Srishti. It's an argument connected to the previous example. The Yoshid Vapushi Adishayona Drishtaha. Adishaya means some change, some special change, some particular change. It's not seen there. If somebody calls her as wife, somebody calls her as mother, sister-in-law, daughter-in-law, cousin, and all those, but that she remains the same. Now you see, there is a trick in this question. The trick is that the questioner is asking how the manifestation change according to the mind. I cannot accept that mind can change the manifestation. So mind cannot modify anything. Mind cannot create anything. Whatever is created by something else, by material cause. So the creation means the material creation. There is no mental creation, as you said. This is the meaning of this. So now something seen as an object without name and form and connections, relations. The object is totally indifferent, unrelated to anybody in this world. That object, how you perceive that object, just imagine. An object, you can say something gold or some ornament or some book or something, whatever may be. There is an object, but that object has no relations. It means that object is not related to anybody in this world. Now you are seeing that object. What would be the reflection? What would be the reaction? What would be the experience? Can you imagine? Something happened like that? Never. That is the inner meaning of this question. Because what Vedanta says, there is no object unrelated to anybody. There is an object. If there is an object created by God, it must be related to somebody. When you see it, an object unrelated to, because you don't know whose thing that that object is related to whom, you don't know. That's okay. But if you see it as an object, you yourself will connect with that. You cannot keep away unconnected with the object which you are perceiving, but you are seeing. So that itself makes that object as appeared object. That is a creation of mind. You see, what I am saying is little technical and what I say as tricky. So as I said, there is an object which was not related to anybody, and you saw the object in front of you. You perceived it. You said there is an object. But that itself makes a relation there. So then we say in Vedanta, because you are seeing it, because you are perceiving it, because you are accepting it, because you are denying it, because you are indifferent with that object, you have that relation there. So the accepting is also relation, denying is also relation, neglecting is also relation. And if your mind is indifferent with that udasina, you are not accepting nor you are relating it to it. So that itself is a relation. That is creation. As you say, there is an object. That much is enough. So your mental thought is reflected already there. Now the second thought and third thought, and then the consequences come will after the relation and emotions and things like that. So that there is a methodology how you perceive the object and relate it to it and keep it there. I have sent the two different PDF in last week, this week, last week and this week. So I think you have gone through it. So one of them is related to this subject, what we are going to discuss. Yesterday also I sent one. Yesterday or today morning, I sent one another PDF prepared by one of our brahmachari. in our Vedanta, Sankhya class. So what the discussion is the same. Now what we are going to discuss here. So this objective relation, sometimes what we experience is conditioned, but when you perceive something, the condition and relations and emotions bound to appear there. Without that, nothing is perceived. Therefore, for a jnani, for a jivan mukta, only he can perceive an object without relating to it. How? That we will see in next, maybe the last sloka, 30th or 31st sloka. Only he can perceive without relating to it, without giving, without putting a condition on it, condition upon it, unconditioned. Why? Because for him, as I said in the last class, there is no object outside him. Atmavad sarvabhutani. So he has no relation. There is no point of relation because you do not have relation with you. What is the relation between you and you? There is no relation. So you have no relation with you, no? So you are unrelated. So therefore, Jnani has no relation with the outside object. Other all like Ajnani, ignorant people who are confused with this, they have subject-object relation. So Jnani has no subject-object relation, as we discussed in last chapter also. So Jnani is within. So he is not relating with anything. So there the object is there, but the what we call as the perception or perceiving process is there. Everything is there, but he is not perceiving it with a relation. He is perceiving it without relation. As you experience yourself, you know yourself, but how you know yourself? You are not relating, you are not connecting with you. There is no connection with you because your relation is aparoksha. There is no instrument, there is no mediation. The experience without mediation is called aparoksha. So it is immediate, as we say, immediate, direct, the most direct experience. So therefore, he is seeing all creation within him. Atmavat sarvabhutani. Atmanyeva anupashyati. So he is seeing the objects out, not outside as outside objects. He is seeing everything within him. Atmanyeva anupashyati. So there is no relation business. So therefore he is asking this question. Now how can you say by mind, by mental thought, something can be created? So we don't see any creation in that woman who is relating herself with different people with different relation, or different people are relating with her differently. So this you call as mental creation, but we don't see any creation there. That's what the question is. Now you see here the very practical discussion starts. Now you will get many key points from here, how to deal with vyavahara, how to deal with your empirical activities, day-to-day activities with this Jiva creation and Ishwara creation. Last class I said you will know what is the use of separating Ishwara creation and Jiva creation. So there is some purpose why we do this. So from here we are starting with that that discussion on why we need to understand clearly, obviously, the difference between Ishwara creation and Jiva creation. So once you apply this, once you rely on this, you are done. So it means you will have the experience of Atma, so Vedantic experience, if you can really understand this. Okay, so now you see the answer. Maivam mamsamayi yoshit kajitanya manomayi mamsamaya abhetepi bhidyatehi manomayi. So the reply is Maevam. Please you do not conclude like that. You do not say that there is no creation different from the original creation, the material creation. There is a creation other than that. So how it is? Now you see, Mamsamayi yoshid kaschidanya, kachitanya. So there is a woman, Mamsamayi yoshit, with a physical body. So that is one creation. There is a structure, there is a person with a physical body. So this physical body creation is the creation of God. Completely, that is the creation of God. Now, this God's creation as a woman with the physical body is borrowed by other person, other who are seeing her, relating her with that. That creation is different. So that creation is called Manomayi creation. Anya Manomayi. So Manomayi creation, Mamsamaya Abhetepi Vidyadehi Manomayi. In this case, the physical creation is the same. It is not changing. As the objection said, the physical relation, we don't see any change. So that is correct. What you said is correct. So Mamsamaya Abhedepi. So the Mamsamayi, the physical creation is not changing. The physical creation is the same, one and the same. Yet, Vidyadehi Manomayi. Yet, the mental creation differs. Yet they change the mental creation. So there is difference in mental creation. So Manomayi. So the Manomayi creation, the mental creation is Jiva's creation. And the physical creation is God's creation. So God's creation remains the same in all conditions. It cannot be changed. But the mental creation changes. The mental creation is connected to mind. So the emotional experiences, sufferings and all those also change according to the mental creation. So whatever related to mind is changing, and what is not related to mind is not changing. So here we are separating the physical body, subtle body, we already know that. But now here, especially related to this concept, this aspect of creation, that mental creation is by Jiva. So therefore, You cannot say there is no creation other than physical creation. One has to accept there is a creation other than the physical creation. That creation is called mental creation or emotional creation, a psychological creation, whatever you can say. So mamsamaya abhetevi vidyade manomai. So you don't think that creation can be only with physical creation, or creation can be as only can be as a physical creation. There are different types of creation in different levels, because we are seeing different effects. We are behaving differently. We have different one the same object in different in different experiences from same object. How from one same object you can have different experiences? Because the experience is creation. Why it is called as creation? Because you have some some effect after that. So the person is the same, but who thinks that person as his wife, for him that person is different, because the behavior and effect and everything, relations and everything is different. And somebody else thinks as that person as daughter-in-law, he has something else. So each relation makes different creations, so different effects. So this is called as psychological creation, manomaya, manomayi. So here, this manomayi creation, we call it as manomayi creation, mental creation, psychological creation. This psychological creation is bondage. Psychological creation has all the duality, all kinds of the dualities. Psychological creation making all the troubles. Psychological creation needs to be understood thoroughly and resolve it. So this is the practical way of understanding the point. Now again, the objection: does the mental reality change the object? That is the objection. The mental reality, mental creation, the creation of mind, can that change the object? So now you see, he is asking this question. Bhranti swapna manorajya smridishvastu manomayam jagrat manena me yasya na manomayateti chet. Bhranti swapna manorajya smritishu astu manomayam. So he says, in Bhranti, in delusion, Swapna, in dreaming, Manorajya, remembering or imagining, Smriti, when you remember something. So in these stages of mind, Bhranti, delusion, confusion, Swapna, dream, Manorajya, imagining, and Smriti, memory. So in these conditions, we can accept that there is a creation of mind. So these are called the creation of mind, Manomaya. So we can call it, because you see a snake on rope, that is your Bhranti, your delusion, confusion. So you see it there. And you see many things, many objects in your dream. That's okay. We can call it that's a creation of mind. We can accept it. But he says, Jagrad manena meyasya na manomayada iti chet. But with reference to the waking state, Jagrad manena, we cannot call the object as mental creation. With the reference to dream and delusion and memory and imagination, there we can accept those are all mental creations. We all accept that. But how can you say Jagrad Mana? How can you say the waking state is also Manomaya, created by mind? So we cannot accept that, because there is a big difference. So Jagrad Manena Meyasya, Meya means object. So object na Manomayada iti ched. We say we cannot accept that the Jagrad Mana, the waking state, is mental creation. We don't accept that. Okay, so now what is going to be the next answer is Badham manedu meyena yogat syad vishaya kritihi bhashyavartigakarabhyamayam udiritaha. Here he is referring, Vidyaranya Muni Mahaswamiji is referring Bhashyakara Shankaracharya ji and Vartikakara Sureshwaracharya. He is referring both of the great acharyas. He says what you said is partially right. Badham. Badham means what you said is okay. No, partially it is right. Manedu meyena yogad syad vishayakritihi. Now what we are saying is, now how we see object, the objects outside, how we perceive it. Manena, manedu meyena yogad. Mana means, some means like mind or any sense organ which connect with the objects outside. Maya means object. Mana means proof or the instrument by which we perceive something, we experience something, is called mana. Manetu meyena yogad syad vishayakritihi. So vishayakriti, now the main point is this: how the object is modified, or how the object changes its forms by the connection of the mind, connection of the emotion. So how it modifies itself. So what the objection was, mind cannot modify outside objects. So we cannot say mind is creating something. So that was the objection. We all have this objection, because when we say everything is created by mind, we cannot accept that. So there, what Vedanta says, as I just now I brought that example, an object is there without conditioning, without relation. That object has no relation. Now, can you perceive that object? Can you know that object without a condition? That's the question. Vedanta says it's not possible. When you perceive an object, there must be a condition, there must be a previous experience related to that, similar to that. Because your previous impressions, which are already there in your sanskara and vasanas, brings that thoughts, desires, connection with that object. Therefore, the normal process of perceiving is that. So, manena tu meyena yoga, when the mind and object is connected, when they are in their proximity, then syad vishayakriti, then the object is definitely modified. So vishayakriti, yani this means form changes, effects changes, the person is also changed. That is the reality. Now we take the same example. The woman as a person is there. Now somebody is relating, somebody is seeing that woman as his wife or his daughter or friend or whoever. Now you see, the object is the same, but the person is getting different effects from that different person, but the different mentality. So therefore, the modification comes. Now with that same object also, in different situation, it changes. If that person is having some relationship problem, or he is having some angry or some irritation, the same person changes everything, and then the effect is different. And that object seemingly the same, but not the same, because the effect is different. So what we call as creation, if you are having different effects, different emotion, different experiences, then we must say that creation is also different. Because the different experiences make the creation different. So the creation and experiences are correlated, or we can say what we call as creation is the experience only. So you are not having the same experience, it means there is some change in creation. That is called modification occurs in that particular situation with the with that aspect of mind's connection with that. So this is called mind's creation, because you are experiencing different. So a friend, for many years he or she was a friend. Now your mind changed, or the person's mind changed, your friend changed his mind. Now that friend is no more friend. The friend become enemy. Now what happened? Now how can you say that creation is not changed? Creation changed. Because the experience of friendship was something different, and the experience of enmity is something different, totally opposite. Though it is connected to mind, but we call it as a creation because the experience is different. So when you touch water, you have some different experience. When you touch fire, you have different experience. When you taste sweet, you have different experience. When you taste something else, you have some other experience. So each experience makes the creation different, no? So that is the difference. Therefore, the difference is the creation. We should say that. So here the same person, physically the same, but the experiences changes, and when experience change, the difference of experience makes the creation as different. That's the idea here. Manetu meyena yogad sad vishayakritihi. So it is the modification of the mind, but modification of mind is also a creation. Now that is accepted here. Now we have one physical creation, that is, there is no modification, nothing, that is created by God, and that is one creation, that is the base of all other experiences. Now we have mental creation. The mental creation is also creation, because mental creation also makes different experiences. So mental creation is Jiva creation. So we have two different creation in our experience, and both are real. Both are real. We accept. For time being, we accept both the creations are real, because we have different experiences from different objects. So he is giving an example. Musha siktam yatha tambram tannibham jayate tatha रूपादीन vyapnuyat chittam tannibham drishyate dhruvam. So then last sloka, Vidyaranya Mahaswamiji said, Bhashya Vartika Karabhyam Ayamartha Udiritaha. He said, our great respected Acharya, Bhagavatpada Shankaracharya, as Bhashyakara, and his direct disciple Sureshwara Acharya, we know him as a Vartikakara, because he wrote commentary, profound commentary on the commentary of Shankaracharya, his guru. So we know both of them, and what they said about this. Now he is referring from them, their writings. This 28 sloka actually from Upadesha Sahasri. So Upadesha Sahasri, a well-known composition of Shankaracharya, the 14th chapter of Upadesha Sahasri. We can see this sloka. Musha siktam yatha tambram tannibham jayate yatha tatha रूपादीन व्याप्नुयात चित्तम तन्निभम दृश्यते ध्रुवम. So musha siktam yatha tambram, the melted copper, molten metal, assumes the form of the mold in which it is put. So that is called the musha sikta. Musha means the mold. They make a mold for making different vessels, different shapes. So melted copper and other metals, they pour into that mold and they cast different shapes out of that, different vessels and things like that. You know this. So musha siktam yatha tambram tannibham jayate. Tannibham jayate means that copper, the melted copper, takes the shape of the mold. So that is called a different, we cast differently. So if it is a form of some glass vessel, so it looks like glass, or some other vessel, some other like statues or like that, anything you can make it. So that is how it happens. Now similarly, the chittam, the mind assumes the form, takes the form of the object. The rupadin vyapnuyad chittam tannibham drishyate dhruvam. So when mind see something, mind perceives something, it takes the shape of that object. So rupadin vyapnuyat chittam tannibham drishyate dhruvam. So there what happens, whatever there in that mind, in that stage of perceiving, in that particular stage, if mind is agitated with anger, so the object will be perceived as an object of anger. You know all this because you have all these experiences. So if our mind is agitated, even a beautiful flower is given to you, you will throw it away. I don't want what you are doing this nonsense. So you say nonsense. The same flower is given in some other stage when you are relaxed and sitting and drinking and eating, you know, you are relaxed. If somebody is offering a flower, you will accept it and take it, and you respond to that person with love. So now you see, the mind is molding the object, changing the object according to its emotion. So the same flower gives love, and same flower become the object of anger. So when anger is there, the mind is agitated, it cannot see an object with love. So there is no object in that condition. There is no object of love in that condition. Now you see how interesting it is. So your mind makes objects there. So when that emotion goes, again the same world become beautiful and lovely, and you accept it, you enjoy it. So now how can you say this is not a creation? This is also creation. So the thing itself is God's creation. This is the key point we are concluding with. The object itself is God creation. So there is no problem with that. But the manner in which we look at a thing is our creation. The manner in which we look at a thing, an object, is our creation. Now, with that manner, you will get the result. You are not getting any result from God's own creation, because as an object has nothing to do with you. Object is completely free from your connections and bondages, emotions, feelings, nothing there. But when you connect with that, in which manner you connect with that, it starts giving you effect, different experiences. So there the creation starts. Therefore, the God's own creation is Brahman, that is Brahma only, that is Atma. Because there is no emotional connections, things like that. The matter, the cause and effect, everything is Atma. But now you want to connect with that. In your mind, you have so many different types of emotions, vasanas, sanskaras, previous impressions, good experiences, bad experiences, preconditions, anxieties. So many things are there in your mind. So unfortunately, when you start seeing objects outside, perceiving objects outside, the original thing cannot come. Whatever there in your mind will come up, puffs up one by one, and you make all these differences. So that is the experience of world. The worldly experience, what we called as so-called worldly experience, is not the creation of God. It is the creation of Jiva. So you are molding it. You make all this good and bad. Now, can you say God created good and bad? You will never say this again. God never created good and bad. God cannot create good and bad. Good and bad is created by you for yourself, for your sake of experience. God is not directing you. You go and experience this as good. You go and experience this as bad. God is not directing you. There is no direction. That you are doing it. So now you see another example with this. Venchako va yatha loko vengyasyakarataamiyat sarvartha venjagatva dhirarthakara pradarsyate. So this is also from Upadesha Sahasri. So venchako va yatha aloko vengyasya akaradam yat. No. The sunlight assumes the form of the objects which it illumines. So venchakaha yatha alokaha. Aloka means sunlight. Sunlight is illumining the Vengya, the objects of illumination. The Vengyasya akaratamiyad, how it illuminates. Sunlight takes the form of those objects. Akaratamiyad. As we know in science, the same thing. The sunlight is reflected on an object. You are seeing the object means you are seeing the reflection of the light there. Light has many colors, out of which color is reflected in that object, which color is not disappearing from that object is seen as colored. And the other colors of the light is not reflected there, therefore that color is not seen. If you are seeing some object as red, it means that object, that flower or anything, it is unable to take the red color inside. It means the red color is reflecting. It is unable to remove it or observe it. So that what is seen as a color is the reflection of light, and the light is taking the shape. If that object is round, it means the light is round there. That is the shape of the object. So light is reflected on that object as round. as a square, as no triangle or whatever the shape and things like that. So where the light is taking the shape, that is called as the object. So that part is called as object. So Venjakaha yatha aloko Vengyasya akaradamiyat sarvartha venjagatvat. Now, in the case of intellect, in the case of buddhi, in the case of mind, sarvartha venjagatvat, because this mind can see all the forms, sarvartha venjagatvat. So it can assume all the forms. Mind can assume whatever we could see in this creation. Mind can also assume, imagine whatever not there in this creation. Because there is a power of imagination. So by that power of imagination, mind can see objects, the object, even outside objects or beyond reach. It can assume all those, it can imagine all those objects. So sarvartha venjagatvat dhihi artha agara pratashyate. So the forms of the objects are perceived according to the mind's emotion, mind state of understanding. So sarvartha venjagatvat. Now this particular thing, sarvartha venjagatvat. The mind can perceive all object. So the all perceiving mind. So how mind can perceive everything, that we will discuss in next session, because there we will discuss the universal mind and individual mind. Now, how this individual mind is connected with universal mind, which point it connects, and how we should accept an universal mind as cosmic mind. These things we will discuss, and along with that, in Vedanta we use two terms, vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. So vritti vyapti, the modification of mind, enveloping, covering the object outside, taking the objects outside, perceiving the object. That's called vritti vyapti. And phala vyapti means the consciousness is followed by that thought of mind and movements and objectification of mind. Then it says, I know it. So this is called phala vyapti. So we will discuss these things there. Here we conclude with this, that the creation of mind is the creation of samsara, and the God's creation remains the same. Whatever we perceive according to our mind. Therefore, there is no role, no connection with God's creation. So God is not directing you to perceive an object in certain way. So whatever you want to perceive, that is up to you. You can change your perception. You can change your attitude. So when you change your perception, the world changes. So that is the creation of Jiva. So we conclude here for now. Over to you for questions. Narayan, Hari Om.
Swamiji, there's a question from Rakesh Handuji. Would you please unmute? and ask your question.
Yeah, Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Nara.
Thank you for this elucid, this vivechana of man's creation and God's creation. But
Yeah.
I think that it's not without reason and without conditioning that a perception, a mental perception of a man changes. Suppose I have a pet dog. I love the dog. I caress the dog, right? I do everything. I feed him. But one fine morning, the dog, gets agitated. I don't know why, and he bites my hand. So that changes my perception. It's not without reason. So similar is the case with your relations, your family relations, your friends. So long as the relation goes smooth, it's okay. It is sukhdai sort of thing, right? But once, due to certain differences, maybe mental differences or attitudinal differences, so perception changes, and this gets oneself sorrow and delight sort of thing. So I think, can a jiva help this? Can a jiva be sama in all the situations? Is it possible?
Yes, it's quite possible, because to find that possibility, we are trying to study this. There is a possibility. It starts from there when we know that this is the truth of creation. From there we can change it. So if you want to live in this world with all these activities and relations, and if you know this is all connected to mind, my mind is making all these relations, so then definitely you will have a clear view of your life, and you can decide your experiences. You can make your experiences. And if you want to withdraw from something, just change the mind, you are withdrawn from there. So this is very helpful. That is why I said, if we could understand it clearly and practice it, it will be fantastic. It will change your whole life. So it's very useful. It's quite possible.
Swamiji, again, sorry to disturb you. Quite possible means, suppose once the dog bites me, right? So I should not react. I should not feel agony, or I should not be angry with the dog. Is that possible?
No,
That's my
if I want to take up this example and explain, it will take at least 20 minutes to clear this story. But I will shortly say how that dog came to you as a pet.
Suppose I brought it.
Suppose you brought it because your mind did it, you like it, you brought it,
Yeah.
and now the dog has its own character. As you have a mind, dog has its own mind. Dog means that when you have angry, you react in some other way. Dog react in some other way. So this is all there. So you brought all this together. You not only brought that pet dog as you love it, you brought the bite of the dog also with that dog.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
so in that bite, I should restrain myself.
Yeah. You brought it.
I don't.
Not there
I
is
don't react.
no. We cannot blame that dog even a bit. The bite is brought by you.
Okay. So it's my mental restraint, my self-restraint that matters. Huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
That matters.
Thank you, Swami. Thank you very much.
Arun Babu, Arunji.
Hari Om Swamiji, in the creation example today we discussed. The physical creation is always same, which is by God, and the
Correct.
mental creation, which is a perception, which is by Jiva, which is changing.
Correct.
The mental creation, which is changing, I am very clear, I understood. So there is some doubt with respect to the physical creation, which we are saying it is unchanging. One is there is a physical, there is a modificational change which we learned in Bhagavad Gita, which we know. That is one change, I feel. Another is even whatever we pursue in the mind depends on the emotions like anger, love. We learn that depends on that creation, even the physical mode changes, the cells are changing, the appearance are changing. So how we need to understand that part of unchanging by God of the objects?
Yeah. So you see, as I said, the mind has its own activities or its own impacts on physical level, the physiology. So the psychological and physiological relation is there. Therefore, that particular mind is working with this physical body. So that impact will be there. And that impact is limited. As why I say that is limited, it is not, it has nothing to do with your emotions, or it is not bringing any trouble to you. As a child grows, the child is growing with his physical and mental growth. So both the growths are connected. Now, the physical growth is not making any impact or anything in connection with the mind. But when we study both the physical level and the psychological level, we find some relation. Now, sometimes an adult who is now in his that age can have a soft mind, beautiful mind as a child. It's possible. So the physiology of that body will be the same as an adult, but the mind is different. And similarly, even an old man or woman can have a mind of an adult. The thought process is the same. Now, there is some hormonal changes, and all those changes, all changes are connected to physiology, right? The hormonal changes, things like that. So it has some connection. That connection is not considered as the main connection, or it has no direct impact on mind. So that is the idea here. So when we think spiritually, when we take as an knowledge and the mind we are using for this study and contemplation, all this mind has no direct impact, direct connection, or it is not taking any connection with the physical level. The physical level, there is no impact on the mind here. Because this mind is thinking beyond physics, beyond psychic level. So this mental and psychological or intellectual, or in all these stages, are not connected to this study. So this is the difference. Now, if you go through this, what mind you are applying for your physical conditions or physical activities, that mind is different, because that mind is applied only for that, to maintain the body. We call it as the subconscious mind or whatever. But this mind is not affected by the physiology of that person. So that is why we call it as it is totally separate. If your mind is sleeping, if somebody is in coma, the physical activities would be there, because that is not directly connected in that sense. His mind is not working, but he is having all the physical activities. So that much we have to understand.
Yeah, but there is some connection, like when I have pain, there is definitely a effect in my mind. When there is hormone changes in the body, especially for ladies, the mood swings, all such things are there. But we are not referring to that dependency here. We are talking the other perceptions, what independently mind is taking.
Yeah, independently, but especially we can say emotional and things like that. There is some impact. There is some impact, of course, it is there. But it can be changed, or we can say we are talking beyond that level of problems or changes. That we have discussed this, I think we discussed it before, how the subtle mind or subtle body is creating the physical body. So when we discussed this, we had a good discussion on this point, how the subtle body, Sushma Sharira, creates the gross body. So that relation is there. Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Swamiji, there are two questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
The first is from Vishnuji. If I am standing in front of a crowd and seeing 1 million people simultaneously, does it mean I have samskaras that connect me with all those million people?
Yeah, actually, that we call it as the object which has many forms. Because when you see some many things together, many objects together, actually we perceive the cognition comes one by one. But our experience is we are simultaneously seeing many things, but the cognition is one by one. Therefore, if after seeing many objects, like some group of people, when we are asked how many were there, what was your emotion, if you have some relation there, you are one of your friend was also there, or one of your enemy was also there, you will say, in that group of people, my friend was there, my friend Govinda was there, or my enemy Rama was there. So this will be noticed. Otherwise, you will say only generally, though there was a group, there was something I saw, the group of people were there. So that much you say. So there is no emotional impact after that we can say. Now your question is, there was some vasana or sanskara of that object. Of course, because the sanskaras are connected to each thought process and each experience. So if you have one experience as you are seeing a group of people, of course you will remember that, and after seeing repeatedly, you will have a sanskara of that. Because people who talk with people like politicians and other people, they have group of people connected to them always. They go to many different groups and talk to them. like election campaign and all those. So they will see things like that. So they have some other perception. So that is normal. It will happen like that. But the specific emotional connection will would be there with the enemy or with friend. So the friendship and enmity, or what we call as raga and dvesha, that is specific emotional connection.
Thank you, Swamiji. The second question is from Madhusudana ji. In Vedanta, vasana is a recurring word. As far as I know, vasana means smell or scent. Also, it could mean shape and clothing. What is the meaning in the context in our Vedanta lesson?
Vasana here means the subtle impressions of mental thoughts, emotions. So they are also called vasana because vasana means smell. We normally we say, but here the vasana means vasati because it has some impact on you. So that is called vasana. So the impressions, previous impressions and present impressions created by mental activities, emotional activities. So they are stored in your mind for maybe for continuity of that same experience. So those will come up with different thoughts in different with different experiences. So according to your vasana, you will have the next coming experience.
Thank you, Swamiji. No more questions.
Swami, is there one more question, Swamiji? Can you take?
Sorry.
Acha, you have one. Okay, you can ask.
Yeah. Just Swamiji, you said, bhala vyapti and vritti vyapti. So in case of aghandakara vritti, there is only bhala vyapti, correct?
No, there is only vritti vyapti, no phala vyapti.
Vritti vyapti, correct. Vritti vyapti, no phala vyapti. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is how we have to take it, correct?
Yeah. Okay, so we conclude with this. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Namo Narayana.
धन्यवाद स्वामी जी।